Hello and welcome to your research session on research strategies for your entrepreneurial research project. I'm Dawn Emslem, the director of the library, and I am also the liaison to the Business Studies Department. So if you ever have any questions about anything research or library related, you can find me at dawn.emslem@southie.edu. So today, what we're going to be working on is how to develop a strategy for your research project and also the tools you're going to be using for the research project. So the first step in research strategies is to figure out which information you need. And to do that, the best thing to do is to look closely at your assignment description. So in this case, that's in your syllabus, and there's a very clear explanation of what your professor wants you to do for this assignment. So I would look closely at that and start to think about what kind of information is going to get you the answers to this. So in this case, Dr. Abgrab and I talked about it, and things like industry reports, data on consumer behavior, information about competitors are all things that will be the types of information you're looking for to answer these questions. Then you're going to be thinking about which tools you want to use. So there's some stuff you can get from Google, such as from company web pages, but a lot of the information that we just described is proprietary information, meaning it costs money to make and it costs money to access. And that's why the library pays to provide you access with these to get in business databases and article databases. Some of the information is also available in the U.S. Census. And then the last thing or one of the next steps that is to identify the words that you're going to use in these tools. So these could be things like your company's not going to be in there, obviously, but competitors, like if you think of what types of companies might be sort of a competitor to your business, you can use that to get at this type of information. And then when you do that, you might know words for your industry, but you'll also see other words for your industry. Another way to refer to industry are NAICS codes or SIC codes. This is the North American Industry Classification System, or the Standard Industry Classification System. And they have words that describe an industry that everybody uses to describe your industry, and also even numbers that describe your industry. And these can be brought into when you're doing census research or library database research. And we'll talk more about how to use and find those NAICS and SIC codes. So then you think what sources you need. So this is survey data, demographic data, analyst reports, and where do you get these? Today, that's what we're going to talk about: library databases, Statista and Hoovers. So now let's check out the library homepage. So from the library's homepage, you're going to be going over to databases, A to Z, because these are library databases. And we're going to go to S for Statista to start. So let's scroll down to this Statista. And let's say your product is like sneakers or something. So the first thing to do is just to just right away, type the word that you really think describes your topic. And it may be hard to think about how to describe your topic. Just give it a whirl and see what happens. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So now this one actually worked great. We see that there are lots of different results. There's more than 1,000. Now, the first thing to do before you jump in and look at the actual data that it brought up is to go ahead and look down at other words that Statista uses. So a broader word is footwear, and then a slightly narrower, but still broader than sneakers, is athletic footwear. And then you might even get to specific brands. So right away, you've got a bunch of information that may be useful to you. And I usually recommend you kind of jot these words down because you can use them to get even closer. And the next thing to look at is what kind of information is in Statista. So here along the side, we can see we have 835 sets of statistics. Statista also provides forecasts and surveys, infographics. Dossiers are compilations of information, so those could be really useful to you. Statista studies also, they look at the topic in depth. And down here are these expert tools. These are more for online businesses, which sneakers are not. But you'll also see like this is related to consumers and consumer behavior, which is part of your entrepreneurial research project. So let's take a look right here at this great, totally spot on report. Because of what's going on right now, recent information is very important because everything has changed with COVID. So this is showing us what the market outlook is. So this is useful, and this is the overview. You can go ahead and download this, and it will come right down, and you can open it up, and it will give you some really useful information. And then the other thing that you might find useful from Statista are, we have market forecasts, which you can limit by different region or country. But they also have statistics. And these are also helpful because what you can do is you can go ahead and download, say, a PowerPoint. And when you open this PowerPoint, it's started, it's downloading. If you go ahead and open this PowerPoint, what you end up being able to do is you can just grab these charts and pop them into your report. Of course, you cite them, and they have information about the source at the end, so you can cite that. But these are really useful ways to get this important data into your report. So this is some examples of the type of information that we'll find in Statista. The next tool that I'd like you to check out, again from the library's homepage, if you go to databases, because these are specialized library databases, databases A to Z, and H for Hoovers. If you go right here, Hoovers Online, you can see right here that we're in our Hoovers database, and you will be asked to log in with your first name last name sometimes and email password. And this little box appears where you search. So you can search if you found a competitor. You can search for that because this is a company search box. And if you found a word for an industry, you can try that. So let's try, for example, let's say you're looking at like some kind of hotel or something. So let's see what comes back. So in this case, this might be, so we're doing a competitor search right here, a possible competitor. Now, what we see here is a bunch of different listings for Hilton. And what we might do is, what we're really looking for is like the main office, which is going to give us the information about the overarching business, as opposed to franchises, which might be in different places. So this one, I usually look at the US dollar sales, and this one has the most. So I'm going to click on that one. Right away, you get all of this very useful information. And one thing that it shows are these standard industry classification codes and North American industry classification codes. And these are codes that the governments have gotten together and decided how to categorize them. So you can see the North American one is a little more specific. It's hotels, casino hotels and motels. So these are two different words also that you might use. Now, if you click on this SIC code, it takes you into this industry description. And it also provides you with market research reports. And these are also like kind of like your gold, like you've struck gold when you get one. So if I'm going to click on view all of them, and again, what we really want to focus on are more recent reports, because if you'll note, in February, we really didn't know what was going on with COVID, but now we know how much this is affecting it. So these are listing casinos, so we maybe don't want those. So let's go down and see. So unfortunately, our later one is October 19th. So if you were doing hotels and motels, you wouldn't probably pick that one. So this is showing us like a lot of data, income data for that industry. We also might look at, this is an industry profile. So if we click over here on PDF, say we were looking at casinos, this is a different type of information that we see. So we went all the way to the right. Now, June 2020, so this is recent, and we can see here that they're in a little bit of trouble. They're shrinking, decreased by 42.8%, the forecast. And here's a table of contents, which tells you all this stuff. So you can see right now, they do like a 5 forces analysis. They talk about the competitive landscape. So one of these reports can really, really help you when you are doing your research for this entrepreneurial research project. So this is the best, probably the best approaches, again, to review. We talked about how to access these databases, and there is another way to access these databases. I've created a research guide for your class, which you can access from the library's homepage, or in Canvas. There's a research and writing button. And in your Canvas course, you can get to this class as well. This is Management 350. And here is a guide on how to cite in MLA, which is required for your project. And there are also other useful tools like the US Census and our Business Source Premier database. And I have little videos that have additional information as well on how to access these databases. So if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, and I will be available for any kind of research support you need.